everyone, welcome back to another video. And in today's video we have this 2020 Mazda CX-5 and we're going to do a Taillight Tint installation for this vehicle. So as you can see, this is how it looks before the installation. It's just your regular factory taillight lens. And this is how it looks after the installation. So the tint has PPF properties, which means it will protect it from yellowing over time, as well as protect it from any small scratches or any road debris that might hit the lenses. If you like the product, link for the product will be down in the description below. But with that being said, let's just start with the installation video. So the tools you need in order to install the tint kit will be Slip Solution, Tack Solution, a heat gun, squeegee, and a microfiber towel. And a step-by-step guide in order to create the two solutions will be in the description below. Okay, so before starting the installation, we want to make sure we prep the tail light. So to prep it, just apply Slip Solution onto the tail light. And then with the clean microfiber towel, just go all around and start removing any contaminants that the tail light might have. So we're going to start off with the tail light that's on the trunk side of the vehicle. So we're going to start off by installing the top piece here. So for the top piece, it's just applying Slip Solution onto the lens and Slip Solution onto your piece. And all you need to do is just align it right on the edge here and make sure everything is aligned on the top here as well. Okay, so once you have it aligned, apply Tack Solution underneath and on top of the film. And with your squeegee, start tacking this section down. And then just make sure everything is still aligned here. If you need to lift and adjust it, you can. Just make sure everything's still aligned and then just squeegee. And if you need help tacking this section down, just apply a little bit of Tack Solution and just start helping the film tack down to this curve. So for this installation, the tail lights for the Mazda do have excess curves. So when you're doing each installation, you're going to be careful when aligning each piece of the film and trying to align it and adjust it to each curve. So it's just taking your time for each installation. So this one should be like this. And just to help the adhesive act very faster, we're just going to apply Tack Solution and a little bit of heat. That way the film stays tacked down to this section. And then we could continue out installing the last two. So Tack Solution and your heat gun. Okay, so now that we have this piece fully secured, then we can move on with the other installations. So the same procedure that we did for this piece, we'll just rinse and repeat for the remaining two here. So just apply Slip Solution to the lens and Slip Solution to the tint. And just make sure you're aligning this one to the curve of the inside of the trunk here. So make sure it's aligned and apply Tack Solution underneath and on top of the film. And then just help it start tacking down. And then just start squeegeeing once you have it aligned. There is going to be a small curve on the inside of the tail light here. Just remove all the moisture that's inside and make sure you remove any water bubbles behind the film. And then just help the rest of the film tack down to this curve here. To help it tack down better, apply Tack Solution, and with your heat gun, just go around and start helping it tack down to the curve. And you just rinse and repeat this step until you're able to tack down this whole section here. So just apply Tack Solution and then heat, and you'll be able to tack down this section here. And right here we still need to apply heat. Make sure everything's tacked down before we move on with the next installation. Okay, and now we can move on with this piece. Okay, so now we move on with this last piece here. So just apply Slip Solution onto the lens and to the tint. And the same steps that we did for this one, it's just rinse and repeating. Make sure you align it to the curve and make sure you are covering the bottom half here. Once you have it aligned, our next step is to tack it down. Start applying Tack Solution and just help it tack down to the curve here first, and then just work your way with the rest of the film here. Make sure you remove all of the solution behind the film before we seal the whole thing. And now just to help it tack down to the curve again, apply Tack Solution, and with the heat gun, just help it tack down right here. And if you need to open the trunk with this section of the installation, you can. But for right now, I'm just tagging down as much as possible before opening the trunk. Okay, once everything is tagged down, now we can move on with this side of the tail light. Okay, so we're gonna start out by installing the middle piece here first, just so we could work from the inside and then make our way to the outside of the tail light. So with this one, just apply slip solution to the lamps and slip solution to the tint and align the flat part to the top section here of the tail light. You might need to do a light stretch just to remove some fingers that are here, but as long as you have it aligned, it should be good. So align it there. Start tagging it down, hold it in position and tack it down. So secure this spot first, that way we're able to stretch the film lightly in order to remove any small fingers. So just stretch, stretch and tack down. So just take your time with each section here. We were able to remove that big finger that we had here. So it's just stretching and tacking down. And just to help it secure better, apply tack solution and just a little bit of heat, and you should be able to help the fingers, the smaller fingers that you can't reach with the squeegee, they should be able to go down with just the heat. Just be careful not to stay in one spot for too long, because if you do stay for too long, you might overstretch the film when you're passing your finger. Okay, and once you finish removing all the fingers, you should be good to go. Just double check and see before you move on. It looks good. Now we can move on with the next outer piece, which should be this one out here. Okay, so now we're moving on to this piece. So the same steps that we did with this one, we're going to sort of follow with this one. So it's just applying slip solution. And you're gonna start by aligning it on the top, since it is the area where we need to align it. But with this one, you need to make sure you give yourself a small amount of material to cover the inside of this curve here. So it's a little tricky because of the curve. So align it from one side first. And like I said, just make sure you're giving yourself material to cover the inside. And then do the same with the other side. And just align it as you go. And you could apply tack solution to help you just align it and tack it down more faster. So it is a little tricky, but just take your time. And all we're doing is just helping the film mold to the curve here. So adding tack solution will help with molding the film to the curve. So just help it tack down, hold it in place for a bit. You are going to have small fingers. Those fingers will remove them as we keep going. So just apply tack solution. Help it tack down, and then you can apply heat as well just to help it with this curve here. So just take your time in aligning each section and do a light tack down with your squeegee if you plan to use the squeegee. So this part is tedious because of the curve, but it's just taking your time. And just rinse and repeat until you're able to tack down this piece here. So apply tack solution and a little bit of heat and just go around in circular motion to help it tack down. So now as you can see, it's starting to look flush. We know that this section of the installation is going to take some time. Just rinse and repeat until you're able to tack down everything and there's no fingers coming up from each section here. And you just repeat with the outside here and then just add heat and tack solution just to seal it off. And now we can move on with the next installation, which would be this one here. Okay, now we move on with this one. So same thing, just apply slip solution before we start. That way we're able to align the film where we need to position it. And with this one, you are going to see you have excess material on this side of the tint. That excess material is going to cover this section of the tail light here. Just align it exactly onto the curve here. Make sure you're covering and matching it as close to it as possible. Make sure it's aligned, and then with your tack solution, start tacking this section down. So hold it in position and tack it down. So we're gonna start off by tacking this piece first. Make sure you remove any solution that's here first. So apply tack solution just to help it tack down, and use your finger to help it curve down to each curve here, so to the top and bottom. Hold it in place for a bit, tack it down, and it should look like this. And then if the film does lift here on this edge, just apply tack solution and just with your fingers start helping it tack down. But if that doesn't help, then we will need to apply just a little bit of heat to help it tack down. But just hold it in position on each edge. Just hold it for a couple seconds. That way we help the adhesive activate faster and it tacks down better to the curve. And then just apply a little bit of heat to help it seal. And then just finish off with this side, apply tack solution and help it tack down. And just make sure before we finish with this one, make sure everything's tacked down. If everything's good to go and the film's not lifting, then we can start with the next install, which would be this one here. Okay, so now we move on with this one. So just apply slip solution onto the lens and slip solution onto the tint. And with this one, start off by aligning it to this cutout first of the tail light. You're gonna see it has a cutout here. So align it right there and just place the film. It should be aligned like this. And make sure it's aligned here. So if you need to fix it, just move it a little bit. And then this should fall into place underneath here. So we're gonna focus on this part first. So for this section here, just lift the film and apply tack solution and start tacking it down. Make sure you remove any bubbles behind this section of the film here and just make sure you still have it aligned here. And this part here does have a small curve. So just make sure that curve, you remove all the moisture inside and then tack down the rest. So make sure this is all dry. It should be like this. So we'll leave this for right now and we are going to focus on this section here. So make sure to finish it off here. Apply tack solution. And with your heat gun and your microfiber towel, just go around here to help it tack down inside this curve here. Just apply tack solution, that way we were glider squeegee. And now it looks good, and now we can move on with this section here. Okay, so with this one, all we need to do is just lift the film, apply slip solution, align it and stretch it up till it reaches this end here. So just stretch the film, have it aligned. So just lift the film and just help it stretch again. Hold it in place, that way it doesn't go back. Align it and stretch. And you should have some material here to help it tack down to the red section here. Once you stretch the film, start tacking it down here. That way we secure it. So to secure it, just apply a tack solution and tack it down with your squeegee. And you might need room to work with, so just lift the trunk so you can work around this section here. So to help it tack down here, just apply heat and tack solution to help it seal on this edge here. Okay, just to bring this film down and cover the red section underneath here, just apply tack solution. And the same thing that we did here, you just do it here, just help it tack down with your finger. Hold it in place for a couple seconds. And then if you still see that it's lifting, then just apply heat to help it tack down better. Hold it in place, grab your heat gun, and just be careful not to burn your finger. And you just rinse and repeat until you bring this film down on this section here. You can use your microfiber towel to help absorb the tack solution that's behind the film, and also it helps the film tack down better as well with more pressure. And before we move on, just remove any fingers that you might have here on this edge. So just apply tack solution and a little bit of heat to remove the fingers. And now we can move on with the last piece here. Okay, so to start off, apply slip solution to the top section of the lens and slip solution to the tint, and just align it right on this section here first, in this middle part. So align it right there, and everything else should fall into place. Align it there and tack it down first in the middle. Lift it, spray tack solution underneath to start tacking that part down. So make sure to align and start tacking it down, and then work your way on aligning the rest of the film here. So this one, just cover the top, do a light stretch, tack it down, align it, tack it down to the curve. And you do the same here, make sure it's aligned. So this one just goes just right where the line of the first layer of the top piece here is, of this panel. So it doesn't go inside the curve of the tail light. So just make sure you align it up to there and tack it down. And for this part here, it is a deep curve. You're gonna need to take your time to help bring this part of the film down to this curve, and making sure you remove any small fingers that may come up on the bottom section here. But for now, it's just focusing on this top layer, finishing it off, and then now we can move on with this piece here. So to help it tack down to this curve here, apply tack solution, and little by little start helping the film tack down. So it's gonna take some time because of the curve. So just squeegee section by section until you're able to cover this part here, and just rinse and repeat to the other side here as well. So come to this side, bring the film down, and just to help it tack down better, apply a little bit of heat. That way we're able to seal this part here. Okay, and we were able to bring down the whole film and just squeegee out the small fingers, and that should be it. Just make sure you just rinse and repeat until you bring down the whole film, and make sure it stays secured. But once you're done, now we can move on with post heating. Okay, so now that we finished the whole installation, the last thing to do is post heating all around, so that way we help the film tack down better to the tail light. So to post heat, just apply tack solution all around the tail light, and with your microfiber towel and your heat gun, just go all around and start sealing the film. Okay, so that concludes the installation video for the Taillight tints for the 2020 Mazda CX-5. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. With this installation, the taillight design of this vehicle does have a lot of curves. So just take your time installing each section. Don't rush it, and make sure you apply heat and tack solution just to help the film tack down better. But with that being said, we hope that this video helped you guys out. If it did, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming installation videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.